Today at ASSOCHAM Voice podcast, we are joined by Mr. Saurabh Sanyal. He is Secretary General of ASSOCHAM, an Army veteran. He has served in many industries, done a lot of things, that too in a big, major way. But we'll talk to him majorly about defense and the other things associated with the defense industry. So, thank you for joining us here at ASSOCHAM Voice podcast. And let's begin by talking about one big initiative which has happened over the last few years in defense industry is Atmanirbhar Bharat, or self sustenance and development. How much of you think that has contributed to the position where we are standing now?
So, thank you for that question. Actually, the Make in India initiative, which was brought in by the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji in 2014, was a very big game changer for our country. And that has not only induced manufacturing in various sectors, also in the defense sector. So, that is how, and I would position India as one of the manufacturing factories in the times to come. Say by 2030 or by 2035, we would be the largest country in the world which will be into manufacturing of pharmaceuticals, manufacturing of defense equipment, manufacturing of emerging technologies, manufacturing of chips, semiconductors, etc., because we are progressing on a very, very accelerated growth path in the manufacturing sector. Make in India has done a lot of good. The clarion call given by the Honorable Prime Minister has really moved the industry in the right direction, and we expect this to continue to happen till 2047, when India or Bharat becomes totally self-reliant and a developed country.
Talking about what you said just now, PM's vision, PM's initiatives happen, and this happens to be a time when 12 years of PM Modi has been completed. He is the longest serving Prime Minister. So what do you think, which are the major steps that have been undertaken under his leadership that has helped Indian defense industry?
So there are a gamut of initiatives which were taken by the Government of India after it came into existence in 2014. If you recall, prior to 2014, we were importing a lot of equipment and lot of defense platforms. I will talk basically on the defense systems. We were majorly an importer, and all the sophisticated equipment, our land systems, our air systems, our naval systems, were most of it was ex-import. But the initiatives which were taken by the Government of India after the clarion call made by the Honorable Government of India and Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, so we started creating, there were policy reforms. So the biggest change which was brought in was from the policy paralysis situation, we came to a policies reform system. There were large number of reforms which were created. There were large number of hurdles in the rules and regulations which were ironed out, and there was a industry, academia, government collaboration which took place. Large number of discussions took place. Industry was brought in to bring out their issues, talk about their problems, talk about their challenges. Also, there was a lot of infusing of the finance. Taxes were looked into, the personal income tax was looked into, the GST reform came in, which was a very big game changer again in 2018. And such kind of initiatives took India on a long growth path, and it made India and Indian industry very, very friendly for manufacturing as well as for services. Both the things grew together.
So talking about defense exports, so what has been the contribution of Indian industry? How has it grown from here, from where it was now? But somewhere, do you also think that Indian PSUs have not been as developed or as big a contributor as the private sector is emerging?
See, today we are, in fact, this year we have the largest defense manufacturing to the tune of 1.54 lakh crores, which was never in the past. And today from defense importer, we have, as I told you, we have become exporters. Almost 34,000 plus crores we have exported in the year 25-26, which is almost 62% above the last year's exports in the defense sector itself. So this is because of the current policies, the Make 1, the Make 2 in the defense acquisition and procurement plan 2020, where lot of initiatives were taken, lot of sectoral problems which were initially existing in the DAP was ironed out, and the industry was allowed to come in with their innovations. The Government of India and the defense PSUs took a lot of risk, because initially what used to happen is you had to make a prototype, and then if that was successful, then only the item was inducted. So there was a negative list which was prepared and a positive indigenization list were prepared by the Ministry of Defense. That contributed greatly to the MSMEs and the startups getting in. All these emerging technologies and deep tech which has come in into the defense sector is basically because of the startups. We have a huge ecosystem of startups. Almost 2.23 lakh startups are there who are generating almost 25 lakh jobs, and mostly they are into the technology domain and in deep tech. The IDEX in defense and the Aditi and TDF, that is the Technology Development Fund, has also given a lot of push to the defense manufacturing in India, because these funds they were ready to be used into the R&D sector, and what is needed was innovations tested in the R&D labs and then commercialized. So that started happening at a rapid pace, and therefore there was a fillip in the defense production.
So coming to you individual as a leader, as a Secretary General of ASSOCHAM, what is your unique leadership style? What do you keep in mind, and what are your daily do's and don'ts which you do as a leader, as somebody who's looking after day to day and also paving the way for the future of ASSOCHAM?
So you see, as a leader, there are very 5 to 6 things which are very important. Firstly, you must know your tasks. You must be very clear as to what you expect from your colleagues or from your juniors and from your superiors. So as a leader, you must have full control over you must have the knowledge, and you must have the capability of doing that task yourself. Unless you are capable of understanding the job and doing it yourself, how can you task a junior or a colleague to do that job yourself? Because you must know how much quantum of time it takes for that particular work to be done, and what is the quality and what is the quantity or the scope of work which exists in a project. So unless that is known to the leader, he will not be able to execute that task through his superiors or through his colleagues in a very befitting manner. That is number one. Number two is discipline is very important in an organization. Whether it is timely arrival at the office, timely execution of work without any waste of time. Breaks definitely are desirable, so you have a break, a normal break, but it should not be at the cost of your task which is there. So that is the second most important thing in life or as a leader, that you must have discipline. So unless you display your discipline in front of all, you cannot be a good leader. So you have to be disciplined first. The third important point is that you have to set examples in front of the others for them to emulate. If you are good, if you are disciplined, if you are straightforward, then it automatically trickles down and it goes down the chain of command. The fourth thing is that you must have a dialogue. In the armed forces, it was basically a command and control driven authority.
Yeah,
but when I switched from the armed forces to a corporate sector, it is more of conversation and more of influencing
involvement,
the others,
all of
involving
coming
everybody.
out.
No, involvement was also there
Also
in the
there
armed
also,
forces.
okay.
You had to work with your soldiers, with your junior commissioned officers, but it was a command and control structure. There nothing can go wrong. It is a little bit of tweaking, and there is a sense of discipline with everybody because of the military training. So they will execute the
And
task.
here the background are different.
Yes, and here the difference is that you have to convince, you have to influence. You are an influencer here, and convince the people that yes, this is the right way to do. So that is the difference between the corporate world and the military service. So that is what I emulated. I was fortunate enough to change over very fast, because I took premature retirement in 2009, and thereafter there was no looking back. And a situation has come here when I am called to take over chambers without asking for it.
Okay, that's a
compliment.
That
is a compliment by the grace of God. It has happened. So this is my 13th year of being a Secretary General in a different chamber. So the example is in front of you.
So talking about investment in defense sector, what is the way to attract investment both from India and overseas in defense sector in India?
So as I was discussing, that for any sector to prosper and to have a sustainable growth, you need long-term and confident policies. So first is the policy in the country, that we are a defense manufacturing hub and we must have a sustainable policy. So the DAP 2020 was made with this purpose in mind, that we are going to be into defense manufacturing and we should be exporting defense equipment. That is number one. Number two was the confidence of the industry in all the policies which have come out. So there was a plethora of discussions which took place before the DAP came into existence. The industry was involved, the DPSUs were involved, the defense PSUs were involved, and the government was involved. So it was like a collaborative approach where the government of India took action, and the innovators like the academia was involved, the industry was involved, the manufacturers were involved, the MSMEs were involved, the startups were involved, and there was a large number of discussions which took place. Then very good policies like the IDEX, which is an innovation defense exercise which was done, IDEX, and Aditi also came into, which is a sub sector of IDEX only. And then of course the Technology Development Fund from the Ministry of Science and Technology came in. So these initiatives were very good in getting the FDIs into the defense sector, whereas earlier it was almost in some platforms and some defense manufacturing, it was a 49-51% FDI. But now in many of the component manufacturing and in many of the systems and subsystems, there is 100% FDI, which has given a very big boost. But I would say that domestic manufacturing, in domestic investments are not yet forthcoming in the manner that it should come. It is for any sector, and especially in the defense sector, because there is always a risk whether the item which is manufactured will be accepted by the ministry or not.
Yes.
So, and whether it will be tested, testing facilities are required to be tested, and then the procurement stage comes in. So there is a very long gestation period in defense where an item is conceived, it is put into the R&D, then it comes into the commercialization phase. Before the commercialization, a prototype is made, it is sent to the field, it is tested, and thereafter it is on a large scale production takes place. So because of this long gestation line, it had taken a long time for domestic manufacturing and domestic investments to come in. But now there are huge number of large companies, large corporates like the Tata Advanced Systems, the Adani Defense, Mahindra Defense, they have all come into the defense manufacturing. They have started L&T. Very recently L&T has gone into procurement of manufacturing of howitzers.
Okay.
The
Yes.
latest K9 howitzers.
K9 new order also coming.
Absolutely
Yeah.
new system with a very, very good capability. They have already bagged the order, and they are going to come out in the next 2 to 3 years. They will be producing 300 numbers of K9 howitzer, which will be very, very useful for the country. But it had a very long gestation period. For the MSMEs and for startups, basically you had the smaller variety of stuff like bulletproof jackets, night vision devices, cameras, battlefield surveillance radars, smaller items, small arms,
Small arms.
ammunition, landmines. All these things were very, very effective for manufacturing by the MSMEs, because they are the growth engines, and it does not require huge capital and investments for manufacturing these. So this also we started doing it, whereas earlier it was not the case. Very few people used to enter defense because it was all a hush-hush affair and it was not so transparent. But now it has become very transparent. There is hardly any testing required for such kind of equipment. Startups have got in because of the IDEX. So earlier we had just 4 startups before 2014, if you know, 4 to 5 startups. Today we have 2.23 lakh startups, and we have more than 125 unicorns.
Unicorns.
So most of the unicorns, many of the unicorns are into the defense sector. More than 50% of them are into the defense sector and deep tech, and they are coming out with excellent ideas, excellent innovations into defense manufacturing, into laser-based surveillance systems, drones, mines, and drones has become a revolution in India.
Yeah, that's what.
So and the land systems consisting of missiles and their components manufacturing has also been started by the MSMEs. So there is a great fillip in the defense sector for manufacturing, and all this indigenously being produced now in India, and also we are doing the exports. There is a missile system called BrahMos, you must have heard about it,
of course,
which was extensively used in Operation Sindoor,
of course, yes,
and it is one of the most popular missile systems.
We are selling it to other countries also.
We are also, there is a huge, 3 countries we are already selling it to, and there is a interest has been shown by many other developing countries, especially African countries and the countries in the coastline. So because of the maritime security, they have shown very keen interest in procurement of drones. But the DPSUs, especially the ordnance factories which were converted into DPSUs, corporatized, they are producing the BrahMos now. So it's a win-win situation for India, and I am sure by the year 2035 it is going to be a defense manufacturing hub in our country.
Sir, picking from what you discussed right now, talking about drones, cybersecurity, all new age things, they have become quite a new phase of warfare. How is Indian industry poised to exploit or take advantage of these opportunities which have emerged? Very new, very high tech.
So most of the startups who are there in this ecosystem, they are very, very sharp, and they have come out with very good innovative ideas. There are AI driven systems, quantum mechanics have come into play, and these are the people who have left lucrative plush jobs and started their own startups, and they are taking very keen interest in defense manufacturing, because there is a will for them to produce something for the country. Most of these startups are very well educated. They have come from foreign universities. They were deployed out overseas, and they were working hard for the other countries. Now they have realized that India has a lot of potential, and they have started their own businesses, and they have come back to India, and they have got involved in defense manufacturing. So this is a very good thing which has happened in our country, that these startups are giving fantastic innovative ideas, and they are getting very good inspiration from the government of India. Secondly, the AI has come to being in India, and the artificial intelligence, automation, robotics is going to stay, and it is the future of any country today. So these have to be developed into good manufacturing systems, services, etc., and they have to come. People have to get into this mold, there might be, there cannot be, I would not say that there will be job losses, but they will be transforming into, and they will be need to be skilled in these sectors to become proficient in AI, in robotics, in systems which are in the emerging technologies, and that is how our systems will improve, our defense manufacturing will improve. There will be a far lesser errors in manufacturing. We will produce high quality stuff which is acceptable by international standards, and this is how our exports will also grow. So it is very, very essential that we learn the new technologies and the new systems which are existing today in the world.
So coming back to ASSOCHAM, what initiatives ASSOCHAM is taking to support the growth of India's defense manufacturing ecosystem especially?
So in ASSOCHAM we have a very proactive defense and aerospace and maritime security council. So it is headed by the Mahindra Defense. The chairman of the CEO of the Mahindra Defense is our chairman of the Defense Council, and we have a large number of stakeholders in that. We have been participating in all the discussions with the Ministry of Defense and with the defense exports in the Ministry of Defense. We have also taken initiatives by taking delegations to UK, to Paris, and to Saudi Arabia, and to many other countries where there are buyers of defense equipment in the past about 7 to 8 years, and we are continuously meeting every once in a quarter and reviewing the processes, reviewing the latest technology developments which are happening. The Defense Council is constantly in touch with the Ministry of Defense. We are also showcasing products by our members. We have more than 50 to 60 members, strong members, who are producing land systems, naval systems, and small arms, and MSMEs also who are into defense production. Metallurgy is another very big part of defense manufacturing, because you need precision engineering and you need special metals for use in the bulletproof jackets and for use in components of guns and machinery and radars, etc., which our members are already doing. Ammunition is another big part where the R&D is taking place. Landmines is another big part. How to make non-detectable mines when you are using them in the field. So the enemy should not be able to detect those parts and those mines, so that they are unable to. So anti-drone measures. Drones are very big systems of warfare today.
Yeah,
missiles and drones have come to stay, and the future wars are going to be fought in the skies. And even the land systems will be consisting of drones, whether it is for surveillance, whether it is for destruction, whether it is for pinpointed attacks. So thereafter the armed forces and the naval ships are only used to get themselves deployed and hold the ground. So today's warfare involves emerging technologies, latest technologies, where startups have a very big role to play, because they are into deep tech, they are into technology, they are into systems which I have just spoken about, into robotics, into AI. So they are the people who are the front runners today for any manufacturing, including defense.
So what is one reform that you will point out that can accelerate India's vision of becoming a defense manufacturing powerhouse?
So first, as I told you, that there has to be a sustainable policy, and that policy, it's a long-term policy. Frequent changes makes the industry very cautious, and they don't want to come forward. So if you see the countries where they have excelled in defense manufacturing, basically the US and the UK, and of course France, Israel, etc., they all had very good policies and sustainable policies which protected the manufacturer in producing the equipment, and thereafter was the demand. So demand driven manufacturing is what is again sustainable, and it is going to continue, and people have confidence, and then they start investing into that sector. So investments will only increase if there is a demand. Investments will only increase if there is a sustained policy and not changes in policy very frequently. Investments will only come from foreign direct investors if there is scope for them to have a very level playing field. The taxations should be also uniform. There should not be any differentiation between a foreign investor and an Indian investor, which has already started happening in the current budget. The Honorable Finance Minister has already announced that any foreign investor who wants to come and invest, they will not be they will be at par with the Indian investor as far as taxation is concerned. So these are the good policies which will result into becoming India a hub for investment, also for manufacturing, and also for sustained development.
Sir, talking about your vision as and looking forward in 2035, what's your assessment? How do you see India's defense manufacturing sector, overall defense sector also by 2035?
By 2035, I would say that India will become one of the top 5 nations in defense manufacturing, because the kind of policies that have been laid out by the Government of India, the DPSUs have been also focused into, they have been reorganized into corporates, and they have started churning out excellent equipment, innovative equipments. BrahMos was one of them, which the DRDO and the ordnance factories came out with indigenous manufacturing of missile. Similarly, the Akash missile is another good example of an indigenous missile which has come out. So there is Agni, which was tested a few years back. Again, that is another missile system in the land systems. And now you come to the naval systems and the maritime security systems. You have these frigates, the aircraft warriors, the aircraft carriers who have been introduced and who have been refurbished by the Indian Navy, and large number of air systems have come into play. The attack hepters, for example, the Chetak surveillance helicopters, and the attack hepters which are carrying the weapon systems, ammunition, etc. All these things are now indigenously being produced by the HAL. The Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has got into, earlier they were producing 12 aircrafts in a year almost. Now they have started producing attack hepters also indigenously. Then you see the DRDO has designed the main battle tank, Arjuna, and they have carried out large number of modifications to the main battle tank. So these are the classic examples of DPSUs also coming into competitive manufacturing. Then you have the private manufacturing system, the Adani Defence, the Tata Advanced Systems, the Bharat Forge, Baba Kalyani's company has come in a very big way, and they have got a level playing field now. There is no differentiation between a DPSU and a private player in defense manufacturing. So because of this, because simultaneous manufacturing of systems, different systems coming up in the country has paved a way for very good sustainable policies and defense manufacturing, and therefore the road ahead is very, very bright for, especially in the defense sector. We are slowly turning into defense exports. That means we are fulfilling our demand and then exporting out, like we were in the pharmaceutical sector, like we were in the vaccine sector during COVID. So similar things are coming out, and we are very happy that, and I am very candid that by 2035, India is going to become one of the world factories, as we term it now for China. So we will certainly become one of the factories of the world. We will be in the first 5 factories of the world by 2035.
So one thing I would like you to focus on is you gave a very good example that the real journey of Bharat's self-sustenance and Atmanirbhar Bharat started during COVID.
Yes.
When we really made from there were issues or there were fears of having shortage, we became quite independent. Can you tell us what's the point of thinking?
So when COVID-19 struck, it actually struck in December 2019. So therefore it was named as COVID-19.
COVID-19, yes.
And the first shock came to India in the month of January, February, when we had started getting cases from across the world, because people and industry were traveling, a lot of students were traveling, and we got that shock. And thereafter the realization came in, and it was Shri Narendra Modi ji, our Honorable Prime Minister, who decided that the way this pandemic was spreading, it was so daunting that it had to be controlled, and we could not depend on the developed countries for the vaccines which were needed for India. So he immediately gave a clarion call to all the pharmaceutical companies and manufacturers that you start producing the vaccines, and what will work for COVID was left to their wisdom and their R&D. So this was a very big chance, and government was ready to support it financially to whatever extent it was possible. So this gave a very big chance to all our bigger giants of manufacturing, and they came out with fantastic R&D work, and within a very short time. Normally the incubation period for a vaccine is almost 8 to 10 years, but during the pandemic, because of the emergency, the vaccines came out within 6 months, 6 to 8 months, and these vaccines, thereafter we were not dependent on any of the global countries. We started not only producing them for ourselves, but we also started helping those countries which were in dire need and where the death rates were growing by the day. So we started helping those countries, especially Africa, especially our neighboring countries, Myanmar, etc. And we started exporting these vaccines to them also. So similarly, that was the start of the self-reliance, I would say. And thereafter it followed suit with the masks. We were earlier only very limited manufacturing facilities were there. But the MSMEs switched over and started, because it was such a small system and it was such a cheap system of manufacturing, that they switched over. Huge quantities of face masks were required and of different configurations. So they started producing. They switched over overnight producing masks. And so was the case with sanitizers. Instead of buying sanitizers from abroad or from limited companies, every manufacturer started producing sanitizers. Because it was such a simple thing to manufacture.
And if I haven't had a chance to
yes, that was the start and foundation for self-reliance. So that is how the idea struck in everybody's mind, that why not in the other sectors? Why medical devices? There were oxygen, the oxygen generators were produced in India. That it was COVID, because necessity is the mother of invention, they say. So that was the necessity of that time, and we started inventing things. In fact, DPSUs, the ordnance factory, also created medical devices for life saving and oxygen generators, etc., etc. And they were churning out as though, and we were making our demands met as also we were exporting. So that was really a success story and a successful war against pandemic, against COVID-19, which we fought very well, and we came out of it.
That's very well saying, sir. On that note, thank you for joining us on ASSOCHAM Voice podcast and bringing your views for our viewers and giving this great perspective. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for elaborating so many things together. And I hope I have made justice to whatever you wanted to ask me, and you were satisfied in my answers to your questions.
Absolutely. Pleasure to talk to you as always, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.